Welcome to Macro Golf's Get Golfers Moving. In these sessions, we're just all about getting up off of the seat, off of the sofa, and doing some kind of movement to regain some proper movement function, get the blood flowing around the muscles, and just get us up on our feet where we should be spending the majority of our day. So for this session, as all the sessions, we're going to start on our back. We're going to work onto our knees into a crawling position, and then eventually end this session where we should be in a standing position. So for most of these sessions, you're not going to need any equipment, and for this one, it's going to be the same. You don't necessarily need any equipment for this session, but if you do have a small loop band like this, then it will be a nice little accessory to use during this session. So we're going to start on our backs, work up into a crawling position, and then finish in a standing. So down we come onto our backs. I'm just going to start working on a little bit of breathing. So from here, tuck your feet up into a nice comfortable position. Just let your hands rest onto your stomach, and I just want you to take some really deep breaths from deep within your belly. We're going to breathe deep, let that expand up, fill that with the fingertips, and then forceful exhale as well. So breathe in, and you can breathe deep and enough that you can hear your breath, and exhale. Now from this position with your feet tucked in, you should be able to keep a nice flat line on the mat from your hip all the way up to your shoulder and head. So if you're starting to get a little bit of a gap in your lower back, really contract that core and pin it down. Take those deep breaths in from the stomach. 2 more deep breaths here. It's really useful to have the hands sitting on the belly. You can feel the rise and fall. So I'm just going to move in to get a little bit of movement into the hips. So you're going to take your right leg, put it flat out ahead of you. And you're just going to hold on to the left shin and pull that knee up towards your chest. Now, depending on a few things, one on your mobility and 2 on your kind of muscular and skeletal structure, you might be able to pull your knee directly up to your chest, or it might just need to fall slightly to the side for you to pull that up. But it'd be great if you could just move between those 2. So pull it directly up, and if you need to, just put it a little bit to the side, more towards the armpit. But the idea is we're just creating this pressure and this little bit of movement. So I'm not completely static, kind of moving from side to side, letting it go, putting it all the way back up to the chest, and then across to the side. Nice and strong with the arms. We're going to do a few more here. And last one on this side. So you can let the left leg go and swap to the right side, so the left leg goes out. Right leg comes up, grab beneath the shin, pull up towards the chest, and again you can either pull towards the chest, or pull out towards the armpit. It would be great just to move between those 2 positions, up to the chest, and then across the armpit. So the idea here is just get a little bit of movement in the hip joint. Maintain that same breathing even as you're going through this movement. So 1 more here. And you can let that go. So now we're going to keep both legs up, and you're going to take one leg, which is going to start with the left leg, and you're going to take it up straight ahead of you. Now, these sessions are not to work on your flexibility or mobility. Don't worry about that at all. So if you can only get to here, if you get all the way up here, it really doesn't matter. The idea is just to get a little bit of blood flow and regain whatever function you currently have. So you're just going to grab just above the knee, behind, and the idea is you're going to keep that leg almost straight with a slight bend and just hold. And now when you do from this position, you just push against the hands. You're going to push against the hands for 3, 2, 1, and then you're going to let it go. You're going to take a couple of deep breaths in, a deep breath out, and just relax. And then you're going to push again against the hands. 3, 2, 1, relax, take a deep breath. And now you're going to push again in 3, 2, 1, relax, deep breath in, and a deep breath out. You can let that leg go now, and move on to the right leg. So the right leg comes up, Hold belief. Again, if you're here, that's fine, just sit yourself up and hold from here. Just try and keep a nice tall posture still from the neck. If you can come a little further, that's great. But remember, we're not working on flexibility and mobility in this session, we're just getting you moving. So from here, you start to have a little bit of a contraction. Push into the hands a little bit. 3, 2, 1, and relax it. Push again into the hands. 3, 2, 1, and relax. We're going to do one more. Push now into the hands. 3, 2, 1, and relax there. Let both legs drop down. Now we're just going to come into a kneeling position. So what I quite like to do from here, just use it as an opportunity to do a little bit of self-massage. So you're just going to grab on top of the shins, and just let yourself rock back and forth. So you're just massaging across the lower back and the middle back. You can kind of rock to one side if you want to. And then our final roll, we're going to bring ourselves up into a seated position. So on this roll now, we're going to come into a seated position. We're going to swing ourselves all the way around into a tabletop. Now from this position, I often say that you don't really spend much time in this position since becoming a baby, but one of the key aspects that we kind of lose and movements that we lose as we become adults is the ability to crawl and kind of base, kind of create a base from our core to crawl from. So what we need to do is, if you're on a mat, you can come all the way to the top of the mat. If you're not on a mat and you're just on the floor, then even better, you can kind of go for a bit of a free fall. But from the top of the mat, all we need to do is move an alternate hand onto a leg. I just want you to start crawling backwards, very, very slowly. So we're going to move our right hand, left foot, and then right foot, left hand. But the idea is our core just stays completely tight all the way through, nothing else moves. If you get to the end of the mat, you can then come back forwards. So if you're doing this not on a mat, you just do it on the floor, then that's great. You can kind of just crawl around as you go. The idea is we're not rocking from side to side. All of this stays really, really tight, really, really contracted, and we just move from there. Just move as you go. If you are on the floor, you can even go sideways. Really trying to regain some of that function that we lose as we become adults. And you bring yourself back to the middle of your mat. Okay, so from this position, the tabletop position, we're going to start to just come into a little bit of a low lunge stretch. So what you need to do is walk your hands across to the right hand side of your mat, or if you're on the floor, just to the right hand side, and you're going to bring your left foot up to meet your hands. So it's going to bring you into a low lunge. What we need to do is just either holding your hands on one foot or on the mat if you want to, if you feel like this is a nice stretch, or you can come up into more of a low lunge position from here. So from here, what I want you to do is just feel like your right hand hip flexor is really loosening off. You can contract and relax your glute if you want to kind of get that more of a feeling. And for the rest, I want you to just sit up and really take some deep breaths in this position. Okay, we're just opening up the hips. I want you to really focus on taking some deep breaths. If you're down here, that's absolutely fine. You can sit yourself up, take your breaths from here. If you're sat up, that's great. And you can kind of just shift around. But I just want you to get comfortable to sit in this position, okay? Again, you should be able to create some extension in the hip here without much pain. Just teaching yourself about regaining these movements that we often lose. So it'd be great now if you go for a little period of contracting and relaxing the glutes. So squeeze for a few seconds and then relax. Exactly the same if you're down in this position, you can squeeze and relax. And even if you are in this position, you can think about driving that left knee out away from you as well. From here, if you want to, you can start to bring in some rotations. You can twist your body to one side. I don't really mind at this point, just have a little play, but just feel good sitting in this position. Probably one of my favourite stretches and positions. There's so much you can do with it from being here, and you get so much benefit from it as well. So bring your hands back down to the mat, and take your left foot all the way back. Move your hands over to the left, and then bring your right foot up. Join the hands. Again, if you want to stay in this position, you can. If you want to stay down with your hands on the mat, or if you want, you can sit yourself up Again, we're just going to repeat on this side, feeling comfortable sitting in this position. Sometimes I like to do a little bit of the ankle and the front leg. Again, we can contract, relax the glutes, squeeze for a few seconds and relax. Anything you can do to kind of have a play in this position. A few more seconds here. Take your hands, place them back down to the mat, put your foot back round, and then you're going to tuck your toes under, walk both feet up, come down into a low squat. Now from here, I just want you to have a little play. Again, just have a little feel about how you're feeling, how you're moving. And then eventually we're going to bring ourselves all the way up into a standing position. Okay, so now we're standing, a position that I think most of us should be in for the majority of our day. We're going to work a little bit on this standing position now and work a little bit on a posterior change to the muscles running down the back of our body. So from the side, you can see here, trying to maintain a really good posture from the back of my head down to my tailbone. You can either have hands on your hips, you can have hands in front of your chest, or you can have your hands on your thighs. All I want you to do is just slowly bend from the hip and create a little bit of stretch and load in into the hamstrings and into the glutes. Okay, so really trying to maintain that posture. You're going to hold that for 3, 2, 1, and then you need to come back up. You can shift your weight slightly backwards as you fall, hips drop back, maintain a nice posture. We're going to do this a few times. 3, 2, 1, come back up to the top. Keep a nice solid base with the feet. 3, 2, 1, we're going to go down again. We're going to hold this for 3, 2, 1, and come back up. We can do this one more time. Nice tall posture. Down we go. 3, 2, 1, and take a rest there. Now, if you've got your loop band, we're going to use that. If you don't have one, that's absolutely fine. You can still follow this exercise without it, okay? But what you are going to do is you're going to put it around your ankle. And we're just going to start to wake up some of the muscles that go to sleep when we're sat down for long periods or not using them for long periods. And those muscles are going to work in the glutes, okay? So what we're going to do is start on the side of your mat. If you're not on a mat, that's great. You can just do this on your carpet, in your living room, wherever you are. And from here, I want you to just load slightly into your hips and into your hamstrings, okay? So just shift your weight back slightly, a little bit of a hinge at the hip, a little bit of a bend in the knee. Now from here, keeping our posture nice and tall, you're just going to slowly walk around to the side. So you're going to walk one foot out and the other foot's going to follow, okay? Walking like a crab. So we're still keeping that load on the whole time. And then move back in the other direction. So this load is always on the hips, constant tension. If you're brave, you can start to lower that a little bit more as well. Small steps. Again, if you don't have the band, that's not a problem. You can still follow this even without the band. We're going to work our way back to the start. Start to feel some blood pumping into those muscles now. And they're starting to wake up. You can see that they were asleep. And take a rest there. Now, if you've got the band, we're going to do one more exercise. Again, if you don't have the band, not a problem. You can bring the band all the way up to your knees, okay? So now we're just going to work a little bit on some squatting movements. Now we've got the kind of the glutes activated a little bit. We're going to see how different that feels when we squat. Now, if you've got the band, I want you to try and keep your feet pointing forwards if you can, and really think about kind of expanding the band with your knees as you squat down, okay? That's really going to keep that activation. So think about what we've done in that last movement, and use it in this one. If you don't have the band, that's absolutely fine. Feet stay in that position and you're just getting the feeling of splitting those knees, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through some squats and we're gonna start nice and high, gradually lower that down and down and down and down, okay? So we're gonna start in this position, feet facing forwards, band on the knee, thinking about driving the knees out, okay? So you're just gonna start really, really low here, and we get deeper and deeper as we go. So with each rep, I just want to think about squatting a little bit further with each one. You can just take your hands out in front of you if you want for a little bit of balance. And all you're trying to do is go lower with each one. Now if you're doing this with a pair of you, see who can go lowest. Make sure you're maintaining that technique, keeping loading the feet, feel like you're trying to split your feet away from each other and drive the knees out. Using the band as a little bit of tension and a bit of a guide to do it. So now you come down to nearly your full depth. We're going to do 5 repetitions at your full depth. 3 more. And the last one now. And take a rest there. So guys, that is it for your kind of Get Golfers Moving session. This is episode number 3 of this series. I'm going to try and release a lot of these videos throughout this next lockdown. I'm really trying to get you guys up off the chair, away from your desk, away from the sofa, and just doing some kind of movement that's going to regain some of the movements you're going to need when you get back out onto the golf course. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, it'd be great if you hit the subscribe button and click the like button as well. And if you've got any questions or any comments, drop them in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.